San Antonio. This is Rob for the MetalWorks. We are here, believe it or not, on the campus of UT Austin, and none better than to support one of our favorite bands. Brings me great pleasure to welcome guitar hero, future metal legend, one of my favorite people in heavy music, Mr. Matt Heafy of Trivium. Welcome, Matt. Oh, God.
Good to have you back.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've still been going, but it's good to have you back. Yeah.
Thank you. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you at this time, as you're out really supporting, I think, a very pivotal record in the career of Trivium. Let's first start talking about In Waves. First and foremost, this record is none like other in your past. And I've heard you say in other interviews, like, this is really like a new beginning. This is the first real Trivium record. And I really didn't understand what you meant by that. So in your opinion, what separates this piece of work from everything else that you've done historically?
Well, I might have said this is the first real Trivium record, but they've all been Trivium records, but this one's the first fully cohesive Trivium record where every single thing has been completely thought and planned out, everything down to the visuals matching with the audio, matching with everything that we're doing. We had 5 visual artists on this record and 3 production team people, and the 4 of us all working on it. I think the work spanned about 3.5 years to complete it, so it's definitely a cohesive vision, unlike anything we've ever had.
And why do you feel that at this time in your career, after previous things have you done with different directions that you've gone with different records, that you kind of came to a point where you said, we need to put this record out as actually like a full concept piece of work, whereas before you weren't in that really mentality? What happened?
I think a lot of bands don't really think about their art. They don't really think about, they just kind of make the music, and art is typically an afterthought. Right. But this time we didn't want to do it that way. I realized that I wanted to do things differently than the way metal is supposed to look and the way it's supposed to be, and make the exact kind of videos that we want to make, the kind of art that we want to make, and the music that we wanted to make, and make it the exact way that we wanted to see, and not think if anyone is going to like or dislike what we're about to put out, and just make the thing that we wanted to make.
It was a really a beautiful thing when fans finally got their hands on the new Trivium, and I think we're taken back initially by, of course, the first single, In Waves, and now, of course, the second single, Built to Fall, that you're supporting right now. And musically, I think a lot of fans were like, this is not as technical as what we've seen from Trivium before, but yet it's just as impactful as anything, or more so, than you've done in the past.
We're not about showing what we can do at any length of what our instrumentality may be, but the big thing for us is to make the best songs possible, and I think that's a big thing for most bands. It's about making music that people can connect to, and not about showing what you can do, but how heavy you can be or how many things you can play, unless that's the kind of band you are, but that's not the kind of band we are. We're the kind of band that makes music the way that we want to make it. And with every record it's been different, and that's why we released In Waves the way it was. It was the most minimalistic song we've ever had, that we knew would create quite an impact with people, thinking, is this what the entire record is going to sound like, what happened, and that kind of thing. That's what we like to be.
And everybody knows out there that you and Corey are extremely talented guitar players, and I think there's a lot of bands who could really take away from the fact that you don't always have to show your dexterity or how fast you play, but really focus on the music and really be a good band instead of just being a bunch of good guys in a band. So let's talk about some of that simplified riffing that you're implementing now, some of the simpler strong structures in songs. Do you enjoy playing songs like that more than a lot of the more technical stuff?
When you're playing at 100% of your ability, you have to concentrate entirely on your instrument. You can't really focus at all in the live show at all.
Right.
I mean, there is some stuff on the CD that is definitely just as technical as we've ever been, but it's only that way when we feel like the song requires it. Right. We're not the kind of band that is that kind of band. Whereas the band, the band we're on tour with is Dream Theater. They're obviously the greatest instrumentalists of any band that exists, and they do it right. They do technicality right. They do lengthy, in-depth songs properly, whereas we're heavily influenced by that band, and we've tried some proggier things at times here and there, but I think a band like them executes it properly, whereas a band like us, I think we found what we are supposed to do on In Waves.
That's interesting, and I want to talk about that in a little bit. You just said that you're a fan of Dream Theater, so that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Check out the whole Crusade record. It was all recorded on a John Petrucci signature guitar. The song The Crusade is obviously a very Dream Theater kind of song. Shogun is. The Shogun record being a 7 strings and being technical, yeah.
Before we actually get off of the record itself, I do have to ask you about a song, and I know how you've kind of implemented a lot of kind of things about, you know, I don't really want to share too much about specific music. I want people kind of to think about it on their own. But one of the songs that I really enjoy is called Built to Fall. It's actually had a big impact on my life as I deal with certain people in my life as well. I've really connected with that song. I sometimes think about it. I was like, I wonder what Heafy was thinking about when he wrote the lyrics to this song. So can you tell us anything about that song?
No, well, the thing is because you get to have your own meaning to the song, and it gets to mean something to you, and that's exactly why we don't want to put it out there. Like, I've never told the other band guys, because I want people to truly have their own definition of what they feel the song is to them. And I feel that if I were to give out what I feel like it should be, and I could even be wrong, even though that's what I was thinking, it changes that for what people could have held for themselves.
Cool. Well, anybody out there, if you have an ex-girlfriend, that's a good song that you really don't like, to me, that's kind of where it hits home. If for some of these new fans who want to get into Trivium, I think I've heard you say before, well, they should probably pick up Ascendancy or pick up In Waves, and that's probably a good starting place for them. Which one would you prefer that they pick up first? Because obviously both records are very different, yet In Waves kind of is where you're at right now. I
really do believe In Waves is the way to start, because with the other records, they've been comparable to other genres of music or other bands. And within Waves, it just sounds like our band, so I'd say that's the way to go.
Really, you've been doing a lot of promo for this record. It's online, a lot of the acoustic stuff, which I think is something new. I don't think I've seen that before. So talk a little bit about that.
Just felt like doing everything differently, and whatever idea that we have, we're going to try. So it's really just as simple as that.
Is it difficult do you enjoy having to learn the songs in that form or fashion?
No, it's cool. It's just always keeping us on our toes and always being creative and trying different things. We wrote an entirely different version of Built to Fall just about a month ago, recorded, and I don't know when it's going to be out. It'll be out soon. It's like a fully, not orchestrated in the sense with an orchestra, but a fully rewritten way of Built to Fall with just acoustics and vocals.
Okay, let's talk about the videos. Also, you know, right now I know that you're a huge fan of movies and really the artistic aspect of film. It seems that you've kind of adopted some of that mentality into what you're providing video-wise. I saw the In Waves video, and really I had to watch it like 2 or 3 times to kind of really absorb it and see what was happening within the video. And I know that through some of the snapshots on the Built to Fall video that's going to be soon to be released, it is kind of following that same mantra, same kind of visual. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, hopefully all the videos for this entire record will integrate into one long story. And so Built to Fall takes place immediately after the In Waves video. And the following video will either be directly after Built to Fall or even before In Waves. So we're going to kind of hop around chronologically sometimes, but hoping it's like a 5 to 10 part long thing.
Do you have to actually be like in a big sound stage to do those type of videos, or is it a lot of computer work? Or talk a little bit about that.
In Waves was done in a 5,000 acre like nature conservation and a scuba diving training facility, and then the second video was shot on a soundstage.
Wow. So can you share at all right now what the next video will be after Built to Fall, or the next single?
We think it might be Black, but we're not sure.
Okay.
It might be.
Also, vocally, I think you're doing things that you've never done before. At least you sound better than you ever have before, as far as your clean vocals are concerned. Like on the Yesterday songs, I mean, it's beautiful. Did you purposely kind of focus on training your vocal style to kind of be a little bit more dynamic in your clean work, or did this just happen?
I think it's just from all the years of singing and all the years of practicing, and it's something that I needed to step up. Like, I feel like I was an all-right singer for a long time, and I had to take it to the next place. But there's always more room to grow and better places to take it. So it was certainly something that, I mean, a singer can always want to sound better, but you have to put the work in. So it probably came in from all the times of recording and doing everything and touring for all these years.
As you talk about recording the vocals, I remember seeing the video, and I think there's a small caption where you kind of referenced, like, you know, I called Flynn from Machine Head, kind of talk about recording styles and stuff like that. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, like about what is the kind of the mechanics behind capturing something as vital as vocals for a song?
The main thing is to have the training there and to have the backing there, but you have to go in and get the right performance, the right mental vibe into it. When you approach it too scientifically is when you mess up. That's what I did the first 2 times doing the record, and then we had to do the record the 3rd and 4th times, and that's when I started to figure it out. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let's talk about the tour with Dream Theater. How's it been going so far?
It's been amazing. It's almost over.
Wow. What's next?
We have 5 days home, and then we support In Flames in Europe. It's In Flames, Trivium, Ghost, Rise, Remain, Incense. Go to the UK where it's Trivium, In Flames, Ghost, Rise, Remain, Incense. End of the year, and then begin the next year with a couple different North American tours.
Wow. Will one of these tours here back in the States, do you foresee something headlining?
I believe one is a co-headliner, one's a support.
We would really like to see a headlining tour. I'm sure you guys could manage that because you have a lot of fans.
We need our fans to help make us a little bit bigger before we do that, because contrary to belief, we do need to grow a little bit before we could do a full-on headliner. So people need to make us bigger. However they can do that. I don't know how you do that, but please give us help.
Go out there and buy the record, everybody, and buy the DVDs and buy everything Trivium. It's all good. Matt, really quick before we get off the touring, you mentioned earlier about Dream Theater. I did not know that you were influenced by them. Of course, they're very technical. And even from a fan's perspective, because I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily a Dream Theater fan. I mean, I can appreciate what they do, but I'm not a fan of theirs like I am a Trivium fan. So, and it's kind of weird for me to hear you say that you're a Dream Theater fan. So, kind of talk about that.
I've been since I was about 14 or 15 years old. Petrucci's been my favorite guitarist since I was that age. Every show we've played since I was 15 or 16, I've used his warm-ups and his exercises from his VHS Rock Discipline. Crusade was recorded on one of his signatures, and he's given me a couple lessons on this tour. So he's a big influence of mine.
Is he going to let you go up on stage with him?
I don't think I could play any of their songs.
Oh, really?
Nah, I doubt it.
Okay, let's go ahead and end out talking about Matt Heafy, the man. First of all, there's a lot of musicians who watch our program. Of course, everybody's always interested in what you're playing. Of course, everyone knows you used to be endorsed by Dean. You're no longer with Dean, and now you're playing primarily these Gibson, that black Gibson Les Paul, or other Gibsons. Is that your guitar of choice, just by nature, or are you endorsed by Gibson at this point? Are you looking for other options to kind of endorse a specific Matt Heafy signature guitar?
Yeah, I've been playing Gibson since I was about 12 years old. I only played Dean for about a year, and then they got rid of Dean Zielinski, so we left, and a lot of my guitars broke, some on purpose, some I smashed. Not because I didn't like them or anything, but just because I did. Right. But Gibson is something I've been playing since I was 12, and so yeah, I play Gibson Les Paul Customs and Explorers. I've got a couple Epiphone prototypes of my own that we're working on right now, and we'll see where that goes.
What's the body type? Can you show the body type right now?
Les Paul style, yeah.
So I just saw that Flynn got his own Epiphone.
Yeah, he's got a baritone V, yeah, baritone V.
Interesting. And finally, Matt, I know that you're a very diverse individual, and I'm sure that Trivium keeps you pretty busy. But do you ever see yourself branching out, doing other things? For example, like music scoring for a movie, or any other musical aspects that where you could get that component of your music out there?
I mean, I'm always making music for other things that may not be anything, just to constantly be creating. I've always wanted to get into scoring, but I don't know. And there's not really any time right now with the amount of the schedule that our thing is. But I'll always be involved with something musical, and so I'd always like to see where else I could take it.
Excellent, Matt.
Well, thank you very much.
It's been my pleasure, sir, to have you on the show. Any last words for the people in San Antonio and around the world who will see this video online later in the year?
Just keep supporting us. We need it. We love it, and we'll keep doing what we do. And thank you, guys.
We are so looking forward to the show tonight. We'll be right up there rocking out, man. Again, thank you, Matt, for your time this afternoon. Remember, San Antonio, the new one from Trivium is out at the record stores. It is called In Waves. Go out there and look for it. You saw the man, Matt Heafy, right here on Rob's MetalWorks.